Today we're doing sensors, but not as a shopping catalog. We're treating sensors as physics, devices that convert a physical variable into an electrical signal. That's the core job. Turn the real world into information the control system can use. By the end, you'll have a simple decision tree to classify almost any sensor you run into. A sensor is a transducer. It converts physical stimuli, energy in the process, into an electrical parameter we can measure, information. And that electrical information usually comes out as either analog, continuous output, discrete, on-off threshold, output. So when you troubleshoot a sensor, you're really asking, what's the physical input and what electrical output form should I expect? This slide is here to keep us honest. Electrical signals are energy movement via charge carriers. Voltage is potential energy per charge. Current is flow rate. Resistance is opposition. This is important because many sensors don't make power. They modulate it. You supply energy, and the sensor changes how that energy flows. Potentiometric sensors, generating voltage. These are active output style in the sense that the sensing mechanism produces a voltage proportional to the stimulus. Examples called out here. Thermocouples, Seebeck effect, Hall sensors producing a voltage, pH probes, microphones, piezo effects. Practical takeaway. Voltage output sensors often need careful shielding and high impedance measurement, because the signal can be small and easily loaded down. Amperemetric sensors, the flow of electrons. These produce or regulate current proportional to a stimulus. Photodiodes and photomultiplier tubes are classic examples. Light creates charge carriers, current changes. Diagnostic mindset. If the sensor is current output, you often care more about loop integrity and burden voltage than volts at the terminals. Resistive sensors, mechanical deformation. Here the physical world changes geometry, and geometry changes resistance. Strain gauges. Tension increases length and reduces cross-section. Resistance increases. Compression does the reverse. Potentiometers. Wiper position changes. Effective resistance. Key point. Resistive sensors usually need excitation power and a way to turn DR into a usable signal. Resistive sensors, environmental and conductivity plus 2-wire versus 4-wire. Examples, photoresistors, thermistors RTDs, conductivity measurements. Then the pro move. Lead resistance creates measurement error in low-ohm sensors. The fix is the Kelvin 4-wire method. Separate current carrying leads from voltage sensing leads. Field translation. If an RTD reading is mysteriously high, suspect lead resistance and wiring method. The interpreter. Wheatstone bridge circuits. Micro-ohm resistance changes are hard to measure directly, so we translate them into a voltage using a bridge. And the dummy gauge concept is huge. It lets the bridge reject temperature effects, so the output is dominated by mechanical strain instead of thermal drift. This is sensor engineering in one sentence. Convert a tiny physical effect into a robust electrical difference, and cancel what you don't want. Capacitive sensors, measuring distance and pressure. Capacitive sensing is geometry again. Capacitance depends on plate area and separation distance. In the DP sensor diagram, pressure deflects a diaphragm, changing the distance between plates. Capacitance changes. Electronics convert that into a signal. Practical note. Capacitive sensors are great for small deflections and low wear because they can be non-contact internally. Inductive sensors, coupling and reluctance. Inductive sensors use magnetic fields and coupling changes, position without physical contact. Examples here. LVDTs, moving core changes coupling to two secondaries, and eddy current probes for proximity vibration on metal targets. Field translation. Inductive proximity and LVDTs are rugged choices when you expect dirt, oil, motion, and long service life. Indirect sensing, inferring the invisible. This slide is the systems thinking payoff. We rarely measure complex variables directly. We infer them through chains. Example, accelerometer chain. Acceleration produces force on a mass, causes displacement, strains an element, changes resistance. Bridge outputs voltage. Troubleshooting tip. When a sensor seems wrong, identify where the chain could break. Mechanical coupling, element failure, bridge, excitation, or signal conditioning. Discrete logic, understanding normal status. This is a classic controls trap. Normal means the rest state, minimum stimulus, not typical operating condition. That low-flow alarm example is perfect. It can be normally closed, but held open during normal flow. Message: always define normal by physics at rest, not by what the process usually does. Summary: taxonomy of transduction. Here's the decision tree to classify sensors. Start with the physical variable, then ask whether the sensor generates power, active, or modulates supplied power, passive. Then ask what changes electrically: voltage, current, resistance, or reactance. Final takeaway: sensor selection is a balance of accuracy, selectivity, compensation, and durability. Contact versus non-contact. Sincere thanks to Tony Coupalt and the open source community. Link the model library in the description.